Her laughter echoed through the dojo, sharp, cruel, and loud enough for everyone to hear. "You in my class? That uniform doesn't even fit right," she said, smirking. The janitor stood still, her gaze steady, her silence deafening. Around them, students shifted uncomfortably, unsure whether to laugh or look away. A moment later, the air changed. The instructor's grin faltered. A blur of movement, and then a thud that shook the mats. The laughter stopped. Respect was earned in an instant. This is the story of the black belt instructor who mocked a janitor and learned humility the hard way. Comment your city below if you're watching. It was a bright Saturday morning at the Iron Path Martial Arts Academy. This place prided itself on discipline, respect, and inner strength. For years, Melissa Kane, a fifth-degree black belt, had ruled the dojo with pride and precision. Her students admired her technique and feared her temper. Every punch she threw was a statement. Every word she spoke carried weight. She loved the power, the feeling of being the best. To her, martial arts wasn't just a skill. It was identity, status, and proof of superiority. That morning, the academy prepared for an important demonstration. Judges, parents, and sponsors filled the room. Melissa's focus was on perfection. She wanted every kick aligned, every stance solid, every uniform spotless. The dojo had to reflect her standards. But in the corner, sweeping the floor before the event began, was Naomi, the new janitor. Quiet, composed, and often invisible to most, Naomi did her work with calm dedication. She was older than the others, late 30s, maybe early 40s, with a steady rhythm in her movements that spoke of patience and experience. Melissa barely noticed her until Naomi accidentally crossed the training floor, broom in hand. A simple mistake, but in Melissa's eyes it was disrespect. "You can't just walk here," Melissa snapped. Her tone cut through the chatter. The room went silent. Naomi looked up, surprised but unflinching. She nodded, apologized softly, and moved aside. Melissa's eyes lingered a second too long. Her pride was stung. Something about the calm in Naomi's eyes unsettled her. It wasn't fear, it was stillness. She didn't know it yet, but that brief encounter between arrogance and humility was the start of something she would never forget. After the demonstration ended, the dojo buzzed with applause and chatter. Melissa basked in the compliments, but her eyes kept drifting toward the janitor who was quietly rolling up the mats. Something about Naomi's composure irritated her. In Melissa's world, everyone had to know their place, and Naomi didn't seem to. The next morning, when Melissa arrived early for her advanced class, Naomi was already there cleaning. The broom moved in smooth, deliberate motions. Melissa smirked. "Funny," she said aloud, loud enough for her students to hear, "how some people think wearing a uniform makes them one of us." Naomi looked up, her gaze steady but silent. The students exchanged uneasy glances. Melissa laughed lightly, pretending it was all in good humor. But it wasn't. She started to show off. High kicks, flawless strikes, movements that sliced through the air. Her students clapped. Melissa thrived on it. She noticed Naomi watching from the corner, and that only fueled her ego. "You ever train, Naomi?" Melissa asked mockingly. "Or is sweeping floors your martial art?" A few students chuckled nervously. Naomi smiled politely and replied, "Just doing my job." But Melissa wasn't done. She mimicked Naomi's sweeping motion with exaggerated karate stances. "Look, everyone, cleaning kata!" Laughter erupted. The energy in the room turned sour. Still, Naomi didn't react. She simply placed the broom down and left the room quietly. That should have been the end of it. But Melissa couldn't let it go. Pride had dug its claws too deep. The next day, Naomi wasn't cleaning. She was standing in line, dressed in a plain white guy. Her name was on the class roster. Melissa froze. "You can't be serious," she said, forcing a laugh. "This is for advanced students." Naomi bowed respectfully. "I just wanted to learn," she said softly. The class started. Melissa decided to make an example of her. Every drill, every instruction was harsher, faster, and deliberately aimed to humiliate. She corrected Naomi's form with sarcasm, criticized her stance, and even mocked her balance. But Naomi didn't quit. She absorbed every instruction quietly, adjusting, improving, and moving with precision that seemed too controlled for a beginner. By the end of the session, the students were silent. Naomi's calmness unnerved them. She wasn't just learning, she was remembering. Melissa noticed it too, though she'd never admit it. Something about the way Naomi moved felt trained, seasoned, dangerous. The tension built like a storm cloud, ready to break. And when it finally did, no one in that dojo would ever forget it. The following day, Melissa announced a sparring exercise. Pairing students off, she deliberately called Naomi's name. "Let's see what you've learned," she said, smirking. The class circled around, sensing what was coming. Naomi bowed. Melissa didn't. The match began. Melissa lunged, fast, confident, showing off her speed. Naomi barely moved. She sidestepped with graceful precision, eyes calm. Melissa attacked again, harder. A spinning kick, then a sharp jab. Naomi blocked each effortlessly, her movements fluid, controlled. Gasps echoed. Melissa's pride burned. She charged full force, reckless, desperate to prove herself. But Naomi's counter came like lightning. A swift turn, a firm grip, and in one seamless motion, Melissa was on the ground. The thud silenced the room. Melissa lay there stunned, staring up at the ceiling. Her chest heaved. Naomi stood over her, not triumphant, but compassionate. She bowed deeply. "Respect," she said quietly. The words stung more than the fall. The laughter that once filled the dojo had vanished, replaced by a silence heavy with realization. Naomi didn't stay to gloat. She picked up her broom, her dignity intact, and walked away. Melissa watched her go, face flushed with shame. In that single moment, she understood. Skill without respect is nothing. Dear audience, where are you watching from? Drop your city name in the comments. In the days that followed, the dojo felt different. Melissa came to class quieter, more focused, not on perfection, but on humility. She found herself replaying that moment over and over. The speed, the precision, the mercy. Curiosity led her to search for Naomi's name. What she discovered left her speechless. Naomi was once a national martial arts champion, a former black belt instructor who left competition after facing years of racial discrimination in her previous academy. She had walked away from it all, choosing silence over confrontation, until that day. Melissa's arrogance had unknowingly awakened something powerful in her, a reminder that strength isn't about domination.
It's about control, dignity, and respect. The story of Naomi spread quietly among students.
Some whispered, others reflected. For Melissa, it was a lesson carved into her spirit. She started teaching differently, no longer from ego, but from understanding. And every time she saw Naomi sweeping the floor, she bowed first. Because sometimes, the most outstanding masters don't wear medals or titles. Sometimes they carry their strength quietly, waiting for the world to see past the surface. This story isn't just about a dojo. It's about every place where arrogance overshadows humanity, where respect is earned not by rank, but by grace. How many times have we judged someone by their uniform, their skin, or their job without knowing the warrior they truly are? Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more powerful, heartfelt, and true inspired stories that make us all think a little deeper.